The following program is sponsored. The opinions and statements made by the hosts and guests do not necessarily reflect the views of WBOB or its parent company, the Chesapeake Portsmouth Broadcasting Corporation.
WBOB 94.1 The Answer is proud to present Tula's Tips for Caregivers. Help is on the air with Tula Wooten, your source to go for resources and information to help you in this rewarding but sometimes challenging role. Tula's Tips for Caregivers is brought to you by Agewell Institute at Baptist Health, by Elmcroft Assisted Living and Memory Care, by Apex Home Health Care, by the AARP, and by Bartram Lakes Brooks Assisted Living. To participate in today's show, call 904-222-TALK. That's 904-222-8255. Now here's Tula.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the show. I am so happy to be back here today. I realized as I walked in, it's been 2 weeks since I've been here. We broadcast live on May 7th from the Caregiver Expo, and many of you, my listeners, were there that day. I hope you had as great a time as I did. It was a very full, fulfilling, enriching day for me. And then last week I had to be away, so we did a repeat. But I'm back today, and I'm really happy to be back in the driver's seat, so to speak. If you are listening for the first time, my name is Tula Wooten, and I've been doing this radio show for about 7 years now. For those people who are like me, caring for a loved one. It's not the easiest role in the world. It's something we do because we love that person. It's something we do out of our dedication and love and passion for them. But sometimes it can be a bit overwhelming, a bit challenging. It's definitely has its challenges that go with it. And so I'm here every Saturday to help you, the caregiver. We know that in the United States, we have over 44 million people who are caring for a loved one. 70% of those caregivers are working full-time and trying to juggle everything that comes with caring for someone who may live in your home with you and then going to work for 40, 50 hours a week and then spending what they say the average is 24 hours a week of caring for your loved one. That's like a full-time job and a half. And as I mentioned before, it can come with many challenges. So I'm here every Saturday to help you. I want to be your one-stop shop, if you will. For those of you who are caring for a loved one to call in, my background is medical social work. I know pretty much about all the resources that are available in our town to help you, and it's my goal to connect you to resources, as well as my goal to kind of encourage you and inspire you to keep on keeping on. Today, because Memorial Day is just a little over a week from now, I'm going to focus on those of you who are caring for a veteran. We are so blessed to live in Northeast Florida where we have two bases. We're a veteran-rich community. That's the phrase I like to use because we are blessed to have so many veterans in our area. But I also know that we've got a lot of caregivers caring for those veterans from every era, from World War II right on up through the most recent conflicts we've had. So today my guest is someone who has become a friend via the phone, and this is our second time back on the show. Her name is Felicia Santos, and she is one of the social workers for the VA Caregiver Support Program. Actually, she's a supervisor in the program. And Felicia, I just want to welcome you back. Thank you for coming back on my show again today.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here with you.
Well, I'm happy to have you. How long have you been with the VA now?
I've been with the VA since 2003.
Okay, long time.
Yeah.
Long time. And
Fine by. Go ahead.
I was going to ask you, I remember being at a conference when the VA Caregiver Support Program was just being launched, but I don't remember what year that was. About how long has the support program for caregivers been around?
Wow, the program has been around for several years now. Is that right?
I think it's at least since 2010, 2011.
And that's when the law was passed.
That sounds about right. And that's when I met Meg Kabat at a conference who was telling me about this wonderful new program to support the caregivers of a veteran.
Yeah. And they got it signed and passed through Congress. And it was really a unique thing to do because it actually really focused on the person providing the care for the veteran. Like in the past, there were things available such as aid and attendance to go to a veteran to help pay for the cost of caregiving. But this time, the assistant is focused directly on this person who is not the military member. So that was really unique.
I remember thinking at the time, that is so forward-thinking. To take the caregiver out from behind the shadows of that veteran, if you will. It's that caregiver who's often just really struggling and not knowing where to turn for help and emotionally just distraught sometime, and focus on that person and keep them healthy and give them resources.
Exactly. That was a big deal for the VA, and it's still going strong.
Yeah, the program has grown over the years, hasn't it?
Yes, it has. One of the best programs we have. We have, I do believe it's like 30,000 caregivers right now receiving services through the Caregiver Support Program.
Wow. Is that the national figure?
Yes.
That's incredible because, again, when I remember when it launched, and it took a little while, but it has grown rapidly. So let's get to the crux of this. You know, we're talking about caregivers who are caring for a loved one who's a veteran, of any era. How was that different from caring for someone that isn't a veteran?
Actually, I think if you're caring for someone that is a veteran, we have a lot of resources available to you. Our thing is really getting the word out. And when you're caring for a veteran can be different. I know people who care for veterans who are not actually related to the veteran. We have a lot of people in this country and actually in this area who have called me who are wanting to provide care to veterans just to honor them for what they've done for their country. So I think that's a unique piece that goes along with caring for a veteran versus a non-veteran.
That's a wonderful thing to hear, that sometimes it's not even family members, that it's other people who want to step up and thank that veteran.
Yes, they do. Some people feel like, I didn't go to the military. My father didn't serve, but here I am now. I'm retired. Most of the time the people who call me, they've retired from the nursing field or social work field, and they want to know how they can give back to those who've given so much to this country.
So does the VA have volunteers that can be volunteers in this caregiver support program?
Actually, they were coming to me through another VA program called Medical Foster Home. That's a VA program where people can take care of veterans in their home. The VA trains them, assesses the person and trains them, but they can provide care to veterans in their home if the veteran has a nursing home level of care.
Wow. I didn't even realize that.
Oh, yeah, wonderful program. Yes.
And I know, actually, we have it here locally, don't we?
Mm-hmm. Yes, you should have it there. It became it started out as a pilot, and Tampa was one of the pilots in Puerto Rico, and then it went to a national program around 2007. So, yes, you should have it in your area.
Well, that's a wonderful thing.
Mm-hmm. And you're speaking of volunteering. Some people go to voluntary services at their local hospital and volunteer their time there with the veterans, helping them to appointments. If you have a nursing home, they can go in there and read. They can pass out drinks. Like for fluids, they can give them water or juice if appropriate. Yeah, there are a lot of ways that people do come in to get back to the veterans in their area.
That's really, really good to hear. The music means we're getting ready to go into our first commercial break, but when we get back, let's start talking about some of the key services that the VA offers to the caregivers who are caring for a veteran, okay?
Okay.
All right. Good. You're listening to Tula's Tips. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
Have you noticed that mom or dad seems to be slipping a bit? Forgetting appointments, skipping meals, repeating stories? You know they're not ready for a nursing home, yet they could benefit from some kind of help. Brooks Rehabilitation invites you to redefine assisted living at Bartram Lakes. Bartram Lakes Assisted Living offers care and services for adults who value choice and independence yet benefit from 24/7 support. Our residents embrace life, develop friendships, and live life to its fullest. Our residents' families benefit from having peace of mind, knowing that Brooks Rehabilitation, a trusted name in Jacksonville healthcare for 40 years, is overseeing their loved ones' care. Come and visit Bartram Lakes Assisted Living. To schedule a tour, call 904-528-3515. That's 904-528-3515. Or visit www.bartramlakes.org.
Hi, this is Tula, and I'm here to talk to you about Baptist's new Age Well Institute. Are you caring for a loved one who's 65 or older? Are you a boomer like myself who's caring for a parent? And perhaps your parent has been experiencing some decline in their overall health. Let me highly recommend to you the Baptist Age Well Institute. They have the only real geriatrician here in Northeast Florida who is able to look at the whole person. Their comprehensive approach includes a nurse, a doctor, a social worker, a pharmacist, a dietitian. They have their own physical therapy there. They can work with folks with memory disorders. My goal is to help you, the caregiver, find an organization that can care for your loved one who's 65 or older. I take my own parents there, and I highly recommend the Age Well Institute at Baptist. Please give them a call at 904-202-4243. Again, that's 904-202-4243. You'll be so glad you did.
Have you read the new book, Love Stories and Timeless Tips yet? It's by our own Tula Wooten with Tula's Tips for Caregivers. Tula is a caregiver too, as well as an expert on caregiving. You can get it in paperback or on Kindle at Amazon.com. The book is filled with touching stories of caregivers taking care of their loved ones. Each chapter has helpful ideas that we all can use. I love that Tula included a Tula's tip with each story. Her message to caregivers is clear. Take care of yourself so that you can take care of your loved one. This is a beautiful book for all caregivers to read, whether you're a part-time, full-time, or long-distance caregiver, or someone receiving care. You should get the book today. Just go to Amazon.com. Search for Love Stories and Timeless Tips by Tula Wooten.
George, I got the job. Thanks, I'm so excited. They hired me on the spot right after the interview. It was that book I bought from Amazon, From the Interview to the Paycheck by Fred Haley. The book really taught me something. It helped me to think about what the boss wants. Then it helped me with answers that show that I can do the job. I can tell they were impressed when I introduced myself. I just followed the simple outline from the Interview to the Paycheck book, and I know I won the job with my first 90 days plan the book recommended. They said no one else had ever been so prepared. You should get the book. It's on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle. It's worth it if you want to get hired. Just search for From the Interview to the Paycheck by Fred Haley. Do it now.
Hi, this is Tula with Tula's Tips for Caregivers, and I'm here today to personally endorse Apex Home Healthcare Services. They've been caring for my own parents for about 3 months, so yes, this is a personal endorsement. Did you know that they have a behavioral health program? If your loved one has any form of dementia, like Alzheimer's, they can send their behavioral health nurse to come and help you cope. They can help with communication skills. They can help manage the medication. They can help with diet, all kinds of coping skills. I didn't know this myself, but Medicare does cover the cost of a behavioral health nurse to come out and help you care for your loved one with any form of dementia. When you've got this nurse coming, you also qualify for a certified nursing assistant to come and help bathe, dress, and attend to the other activities of daily living for your loved one. If you're not using Apex Home Healthcare yet, you need to be. Please tune into my show and learn more about Apex Home Care or call them at 904-425-4202.
And now let's return to Tula's Tips for Caregivers, brought to you in part by Age Well Institute at Baptist Health, by Elmcroft Assisted Living and Memory Care, by Apex Home Healthcare, by the AARP, and by Bartram Lakes Brooks Assisted Living. Once again, here's Tula.
Welcome back, everyone. If you've just joined me, my guest today is Felicia Santos. She is a social worker with the VA Caregiver Support Program, and she's calling in today from Tampa, where she resides, and she's been with this program quite a number of years, and we are talking today about the support and care that the VA provides for caregivers caring for a loved one who is a veteran. And Felicia, I remember when the program first got started, one of the first things the VA did was put a caregiver support coordinator in every VA hospital.
Yes, they did. That's true. And actually now at this point, actually some of the larger facilities have put a caregiver support at some of their smaller clinics. So that's exciting.
Some of the outpatient clinics?
Yes. Like at first, of course, you have to have one at your hospital.
Right.
That's where they are. And some places have 3 and 4 now at the main hospital. But I noticed on the national list, I see where some places have actually strategically placed a caregiver support at some of the smaller places as well. So that's good. So the program is expanding.
What are some of the things that VA caregiver support coordinator can do to help those caregivers?
Well, one good thing about the caregiver support coordinator being there, they actually can connect that caregiver with information and other resources that can help them stay organized and take better care of the veteran in the home. For instance, they go in to see the caregiver support coordinator. Sometimes caregivers need help, but they're not really sure what type of help they need. So once they speak with the caregiver support coordinator, that's someone who could refer them over to their assigned social worker for respite. Maybe it seems like they need a respite stay where the veteran goes and is cared for or in the home, cared for while the caregiver can get some time to recharge their own battery, if you will, for a while. If the caregiver, that's a good thing.
Yeah. Tell me about that just a little bit more since you touched on it, because I know that there's a good amount of respite that can be offered per year for the caregiver, but I don't remember how much.
Yes, for all eras, like veterans who are not post 9/11, there's respite available for up to 30 days a year. The caregiver would need to speak with the assigned social worker for that veteran, or caregiver support can get them into contact with that person if they don't know who it is who should set it up for them. But if they're post 9/11, they can go above the 30 days if, the team finds it necessary and, in the well-being of that caregiver to receive respite care.
I conduct a lot of caregiving conferences every year, and every time I do one, I ask the caregivers in the audience, what is your greatest need? If I could help you today and wave a magic wand and give you what you need the most, what would it be? And without fail, every time, the answer is respite. I just need a break. I just need to be away for a few days, away for a week. Let somebody else take care of my loved one so I can take care of me or go do something fun. So the VA actually offers this up to 30 days a year, which is awesome. And it's paid for, right?
Yes, and it's paid for. And what's interesting here with the VA, it says right on the website, staying strong for your veteran means staying strong for yourself. So this is really encouraged. So they really want them to reach out and take advantage of this respite. Yeah, the VA provides this through, like we have community living centers. Most larger VAs have those, and the veterans can go there. We have contracted community facilities that provide this for us, and we also use adult day health care. Just at least, have the veteran go there during the day even to give the caregiver a break. But yes, it is paid for. We are contracted with places in the community, and we have our own CLC as a place where we can have the veteran reside safely while the caregiver can take care of themselves for a while.
So you contract with adult daycare centers as well?
Yes, contract with adult day health and other long-term care facilities out in the community, or long-term or rehab facilities out in the community that have agreed to contract with us for respite.
That's a wonderful benefit for those of you who are listening and have not taken advantage of this. If you're caring for a loved one who's a veteran and you are at wit's end, which we can all get at sometime, please contact your VA caregiver support coordinator. Could you tell me, Felicia, for those of us who are listening and caring for a loved one who's a vet, what's the best way to reach out and find this program? Is there a phone number, website?
On the caregiver Now, Caregiver Support has a wonderful website. I actually have it pulled up here on the side, and the address for that is www.caregiver.va.gov. And this is a wonderful site. They keep it updated. They have people monitoring it and updating it on a regular basis. But as soon as you bring up that website, it's a Caregiver Support Service. And over to the right-hand side, it has a button where you can just put in your zip code, any zip code, and it'll bring up your nearest VA hospital and the closest Caregiver Support Coordinator to you, if you're savvy like that. But if not, you could also call the Caregiver Support Line. They have that as well, and the number for the Caregiver Support Line is 855-260-3274. And let me tell you about the Caregiver Support Line. Anyone who answers the phone on that support line is a licensed master's level social worker. That's all they hire to answer the phone there. So if you call and you're only needing resources and to be referred to your local Caregiver Support Coordinator, if you don't know who it is, they can do that. But if someone calls in and they're really struggling, these people are also trained to provide assistance over the phone.
So
mental health over the phone if needed.
That's what I was going to ask. At the master's level, I know that they are licensed to and can provide mental health counseling. So I would imagine they spend quite a bit of time on the phone with the caregivers that call in.
That's true, and that is not frowned upon at all. And they take over 200 calls a day.
Wow.
Over 200 a day. They do. They do a great job up there.
I think that's a wonderful benefit. And to be honest with you, I wish there were caregiver support lines out there for caregivers caring for anyone.
Yes, exactly. But yes, that is a wonderful addition that they made to the program after it was
because sometimes you just need to pick up the phone and get some help, just talk through it, get some counseling, get some support, get some ideas on where to go to be able to take care of yourself. Because as we know, caring for a loved one can sometimes overwhelm you to the point where you don't take good care of yourself. You back burner yourself. You back burner your own medical appointments, dental appointments, and the things that you love doing, so that you often start deteriorating in health. And I would imagine that's one of the main things that they end up talking about quite a bit.
Yes, they do. Appointments, how do I arrange my appointments? I don't want to leave him or her. How do I get there? But, they listen to them, and then they try to, put it all into perspective. If you are sick, you are no service to the person you're caring for. So you really have to take care of yourself. Yeah, and that is up there.
That's my message all the time. And, it's not easy to do. It takes a real conscious effort. And I'm speaking from experience now, and those people who are listening in the community who know me know that I'm speaking from experience. As much as I embrace this and try to tell other caregivers this is so important for you, I didn't do such a good job of it myself last year because, again, you are so passionate about making sure your loved one has everything that they need and are making all of their appointments that are required that you just sort of run out of time. And so you put yourself back. Yeah. And it's definitely the wrong thing to do. So here I am, what is that expression, the pot calling the kettle black or something like that? Did it myself. But it didn't help me any. Let me just tell you that. So let me admonish anyone who's out there taking care of a loved one. You have got to find the way, the means, somehow to take care of yourself. At least go to your own medical appointments and find at least 30 minutes a week to do something for yourself. You're listening to Tula's Tips for Caregivers on WBOB 94.1 The Answer. We'll be right back.
Hewitt, Laura, Ingram, Dennis Prager, The Savage Nation, Mark Levin, WBOB 94.1 and AM 600. The Answer.
With SRN News, I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. Investigators looking into the downing of Egypt Air Flight 804 say that not only is there a growing amount of debris being recovered from the Mediterranean Sea, but there are clear indications from signals given before the plane went down that there were numerous fires on board. It's not clear whether it could have been the result of an electrical or some other kind of equipment problem or a fire inside, possibly a bomb or terrorist attack. A cyclone has unleashed heavy rain and strong winds on Bangladesh's southern coastal area. At least 11 people have been killed. Hundreds of people have been forced from their homes along the coastal region there. The meteorological office says that dozens of villages have been submerged by those heavy floodwaters. President Obama leaves today on a week-long trip to Asia. He'll be making stops both in Vietnam and Japan. On Wall Street Friday, the Dow gained 66 points. This is SRN News.
The following message is paid for by Dr. Michael Herman. While deployed, our servicemen and women put their lives on the line to protect our freedoms. They miss their families and the lifestyle we take for granted every day. St. Michael Soldiers is dedicated to ensuring that their sacrifices are recognized by providing home sweet home boxes for our troops. These highly requested items include a variety of things such as snacks, powdered drinks, DVDs, books, and toiletries. St. Michael Soldiers is a local nonprofit that not only provides much needed items for our troops in the field, they support our wounded soldiers with small services like running errands and arranging transportation to and from treatment and therapy. St. Michael Soldiers believes a little entertainment is good medicine for our troops as well. They offer opportunities for concerts and sports venues, and in many cases, backstage passes and meet and greets are included. These are just a few of the ways that St. Michael Soldiers says thank you to our military. To find out the many ways you can help, please visit stmichaelsoldiers.org. That's stmichaelsoldiers.org.
Get the scoop on everything real estate. Tune in to Real Estate 911 with Brad Officer every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Real Estate 911, live and local, answers all of your questions and is your home for everything real estate. Brad Officer is your local RE/MAX Jacksonville real estate agent and will inform you on everything that is First Coast real estate. Real Estate 911 with Brad Officer every Wednesday from 2 to 3 p.m. right here, WBOB 94.1. The Answer.
Attention homeowners. Do you need cash for college, a new kitchen, a new bathroom, to finish your basement, or to pay off credit cards? Then call Interstate Home Loan Center now and learn how to use the equity in your home to get the cash you need. We're a direct lender. We make the decision to loan you money, and we work crazy hard to get your loan approved. To prove it, call us. We're here right now to help you get the cash you need out of the equity in your home. Call now and learn how to get a free 40-inch color TV with your closed loan. Find out how easy it is to refinance your current mortgage and get cash for home improvements and more. Call right now. We promise we're here to take your call. Interstate Home Loan Center is a licensed mortgage banker. NYS Department of Financial Services, NMLS number 56315. 25 Melville Park Road, Suite 105, Melville, New York, 11747. 800-430-7924. 800-430-7924. 800-430-7924. That's 800-430-7924.
How long will it take to get where you're going? WBOB 94.1 has the answer.
Well, if you're at 95 North, around Emerson to the Fuller Warren, you're in traffic enjoying life due to a crash at exit 350, the downtown ramp, so watch out there. 40% chance of showers today. Otherwise, partly sunny, high 87, partly cloudy tonight, low 70 with a little bit of rain. Currently 76 at WBOB 94.1, the answer.
And now let's return to Tula's Tips for Caregivers, brought to you in part by AgeWell Institute at Baptist Health, by Elmcroft Assisted Living and Memory Care, by Apex Home Health Care, by the AARP, and by Bartram Lakes Brooks Assisted Living. Once again, here's Tula.
Well, welcome back, everyone. If you just joined me today, my guest is Felicia Santos. She is one of the caregiver support coordinators for the caregiver support program that the VA has. And she's been working with this program quite a long time. We've been talking a lot about all the different services, and we have just not even scraped the surfaces. We got so much to talk about, Felicia.
Yes.
Just looking at the website, there are so many things. But we do have a caller, so I want to welcome Mark to Tula's Tips for Caregivers this morning.
Thank you to Felicia. Good morning.
Oh, good morning.
I had a question. You're talking about all the services that you provide, and really I'm calling for a friend, but his father is a veteran, but he was during a time between the Korean War and Vietnam War, so he was not really in any military action. And does that change the benefits that are available to him, especially the caregiver benefits that he might need, my friend might need, because his father lives with him?
Right. He should still call in. I would suggest that he call the caregiver support line, or if he knows the caregivers, how to contact the caregiver support coordinator near him. Okay. The VA does have what we call it wartime or peacetime veterans. Mm-hmm. That type of distinction is for something like aid and attendance. That is like a monetary benefit for wartime veterans that he wouldn't be eligible for. But all of these other things about respite and all those things that go along with caregiver support, yes, he would be eligible for those things.
That's good news. I think you just guessed wrong because he was saying no, he was not available. Wonderful. That's a big help. I already heard the phone number, so I will let him know. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, thank you for calling in today. Mm-hmm. Appreciate that. I learned something new. So a person who has not, if the veteran has not been served during wartime, they are not eligible for aid and attendance, right?
Right, and like the pension, because something like aid and attendance is an additional monetary benefit, but you have to attach it to something like they have like service-connected money is money the VA pays to a veteran who was wounded while they were active duty. So if you can't receive a pension or a service-connected compensation, you can't receive aid and attendance, and those benefits are only for wartime veterans. Mm-hmm. So that's just a financial benefit. But for all these other things, yes, he is eligible for these other things.
So if a person has served and that caregiver's caring for that person who has served, it doesn't matter if they have been in combat or not. They are caring for a veteran, and they are eligible for all of these services to support the caregiver, which, of course, in turn ends up supporting the veteran.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to keep the caregiver healthy and doing well for the one who's being cared for to do well. Exactly. I just pulled up the website a few minutes ago, and
you found it. It was easy to find.
Oh, very easy to find. Mm-hmm. And I'd like you to tell my listeners a little bit about your online course called Building Better Caregivers.
Building Better Caregivers. Do they have that listed there now?
They sure do. Go to the main page and scroll down to the bottom there on the kind of the middle column.
Caregiver program. I'm going to go to home. But, yeah, I love this website that they have here. I'm on the main page.
It's very robust. It's got so much information on it. It says it's a free 6-week online program for family caregivers.
It's true. It is absolutely true, and it's it is online. A caregiver, like if people are doing the modules and they're having problems getting through the modules, you can contact Building Better Caregivers online for assistance. But you can also call the caregiver support line as well, because they're open and they're there and they can help you with anything with that program as well. But it's really set up to talk to caregivers to go over different, like hot topics, so to speak, that are general to all caregiving, to try to give them some education and knowledge up front about caregiving, and some tips, sort of like Tula's tips that they can have in their toolbox to help them while they're caregiving.
Well, it's a really obviously tech savvy, great thing to do. Again, forward thinking on the VA's part, because a lot of all the latest studies show that caregivers are online looking for resources. Especially those who are boomers. It's something like 80% of boomers who are caregivers are online looking for resources. And many of us boomers are caring for our older parents. So it makes sense that they would do something online like this. But it says it's a free 6-week course, and it's led by moderators. And are the people who sign up for it, and it says it limits it to about 20 to 25 people, are they able to interact with each other?
Yes, they do. It looks sort of like it's a chat room is actually what it is. When you log in, everyone's name is running down the right-hand side of the screen, and in the middle is when you're typing is live. You know someone's typing, and boom, the response pops up, and you just talk back and forth in real time in these chat rooms. So they give you they give them the information in advance, and they go over it, and then when they go into the chat room, that's when they ask questions of the moderators. But really, I've done several of these, was a guest on there to moderate in the past. So really, we encourage them to share with each other, since they're at different stages of caregiving, usually, by the time they come to this Building Better Caregivers. And so they have a lot of wonderful ideas and suggestions that they share with each other during these chats to go over the different topics.
I think that's such a wonderful program because, again, we all know that caregivers most of them are online looking for resources, and they do that when they have 15, 20 minutes to do that when they're not taking care of their loved one. Sometimes that may be at 11 o'clock at night when their loved one's gone to bed. So this type of assistance that's available 24/7 like that, I think, again, is a very valuable resource for those who are caring for a loved one. So, folks, if you are listening and you want to find out about this 6-week online course, all you have to do is go to caregiver.va.gov. Again, a really wonderful thing. One of the things, too, that I see that I know that is really helpful for people, because it's hard to keep yourself organized sometimes when you're taking care of a loved one, is your caregiver toolbox. Can you talk to me a little bit about that?
See, you're all over this website.
Yeah, go back to the landing page. Well, I go to it every now and then, again, because we have so many people in our area who are caring for a veteran. You know, I work full-time at Community Hospice. It's in that role that I started the Caregiver Coalition. And just to give you an example of how veteran-rich our community is, we care for about 1,300 patients a day. On any given day, 27% to 28% of our patient population is a veteran. So that's, it's almost a third. Yeah. So I try to stay on this site as much as I can because it's pretty relevant to what I do and where I live. But this Caregiver Toolbox looks like it's got some things just to make life a little easier.
It does. It's like if you can click on it. If you're new to caregiving, you can go in there and it can tell you some things, to be aware of and to try to remind you of how to balance, caregiving and your life to keep yourself healthy. And like you hear a diagnosis you've never heard of before, you can come in here and look it up, and it's here, and it has checklists in the toolbox. Everyday tips and checklists here for caregivers to use, like to remind you of things to ask a doctor. You can just make a list of it there.
Such practical things like that.
Yes, practical stuff.
A medication log.
Yes.
That's one of the biggest challenges of caring for a loved one, veteran or non-veteran, is managing the 19 different medications most frail seniors happen to be on. If your veteran is a senior, unfortunately there is this thing called polypharmacy out there where our frail seniors are on so many different types of medications. But to have a medication log where you can kind of track when you're getting prescriptions, when the next one's due, what prescription you give when, can be so helpful. It's just, again, one of the many, many different resources that I see on here that, again, I would encourage those of you who are caring for a veteran to go to this website, caregiver.va.gov. Felicia, we're going to go into another break, and then when we get back, let's talk a little bit more about some of the new things that are happening and perhaps some of the care for post-9/11 vets. And in particular, I want to touch a little bit on TBI, if that's good with you.
TBI, okay.
All right?
All righty.
You're listening to Tula's Tips on WBOB 94.1. The Answer. We'll be right back.
George, I got the job. Thanks, I'm so excited. They hired me on the spot right after the interview. It was that book I bought from Amazon, From the Interview to the Paycheck by Fred Haley. The book really taught me something. It helped me to think about what the boss wants. Then it helped me with answers that show that I can do the job. I can tell they were impressed when I introduced myself. I just followed the simple outline from the interview to the paycheck book, and I know I won the job with my first 90 days plan the book recommended. They said no one else had ever been so prepared. You should get the book. It's on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle. It's worth it if you want to get hired. Just search for From the Interview to the Paycheck by Fred Haley. Do it now.
Have you read the new book, Love Stories and Timeless Tips yet? It's by our own Tula Wooten with Tula's Tips for Caregivers. Tula is a caregiver, too, as well as an expert on caregiving. You can get it in paperback or on Kindle at Amazon.com. The book is filled with touching stories of caregivers taking care of their loved ones. Each chapter has helpful ideas that we all can use. I love that Tula included a Tula's tip with each story. Her message to caregivers is clear. Take care of yourself so that you can take care of your loved one. This is a beautiful book for all caregivers to read, whether you're a part-time, full-time, or long-distance caregiver, or someone receiving care. You should get the book today. Just go to Amazon.com. Search for Love Stories and Timeless Tips by Tula Wooten.
Hi, this is Tula. If the loved one that you're caring for has recently experienced any falls or had medication changes, maybe they've been hospitalized in the last 3 to 6 months, some new medical condition that's been diagnosed by the doctor, or just an overall change in their healthcare status, or difficulty in walking or bathing or eating, it's time to call Apex Home Healthcare Services. They can help you with all of the above. The number is 904-425-4202. That's 904-425-4202. Hi everyone, this is Tula again, and I'm here to tell you about the Agewell Institute at Baptist Health. They're located in the San Marco area. I've been taking my own parents there for about 2 years now. Dr. Lance, the geriatrician on staff, has done remarkable things for both my parents and for me, the caregiver. They have great information, advice, and resources to help me. Dr. Lance and her team of social workers, dietitians, nurses, therapists, and the pharmacist have been so instrumental in helping me keep my own parents independent and living in their own home where they want to be. If you're looking for someone to either supplement the care that your primary physician is giving to your loved one who's 65 or older, or to perhaps become their primary care physician, I really encourage you to call the Agewell Institute at Baptist. Their number is 904-202-4243. Again, that's 904-202-4243.
And now let's return to Tula's Tips for Caregivers, brought to you in part by Agewell Institute at Baptist Health, by Elmcroft Assisted Living and Memory Care, by Apex Home Health Care, by the AARP, and by Bartram Lakes Brooks Assisted Living. Once again, here's Tula.
Well, welcome back, everyone. My guest today is Felicia Santos, one of the supervisors for the VA Caregiver Support Program. She's called in from Tampa, and we've been talking about the very robust program that the VA has put in place to care for the caregiver who's caring for a veteran. The wealth of information that's available on their website, everything that they have is very it's very impressive to me. I really feel strongly that the VA is the most forward-thinking when it comes to taking care of caregivers in our nation. They have really done so much. So, Felicia, are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Okay. Let's talk, before we talk about, our post-9/11 vets and some TBI, is there anything else new that you wanted to mention that maybe the support program is doing?
Well, new, something that they've sort of been doing, but now there's more of a conscious effort and a push to partnership with the community. Because there are a lot of people out in the community that are doing great things for caregivers and vets that really line up with the vision of what the VA wants for our caregivers. Mm-hmm. And for instance, that would be someone like AARP, for instance. I went to a conference just this week for AARP where they had invited the VA to come out and go over all these services that we have and to encourage any AARP members who are caregivers to please get in contact with the VA if they are caring for a veteran. That's just one example, but there are several other organizations that we are reaching out to build partnerships to increase, what's available for all caregivers.
Well, let me just drill that on home real quick to the Northeast Florida area. As you know, I lead the Caregiver Coalition of Northeast Florida that I started back in 2008. We're 15 nonprofits now that have pulled together to collaborate and offer all of these conferences and workshops and expos. We have a great website, a newsletter, and AARP is one of our members. We pulled them in about 2 years ago to be a member. I think we need to reach out to our local VA here to see if our VA clinic is interested in partnering with us and being a member of the Caregiver Coalition.
Being active. Oh, yeah, that's a great idea. You get some caregiver support coordinators in there.
I'm going to get back with you offline so you can tell me who I should contact, if it's you or somebody else, to talk about that possibility. Because, again, that's kind of a no-brainer for me, given all the veterans that we have.
Exactly, because veterans, yes, they are veterans, but they're also a part of the community, too. So,
oh, yeah.
Yeah, we should all just join together and share the wealth.
Well, at every one of my conferences, we always have a topic for the veteran caregiver. And then actually every year, you probably know this, Felicia, from talking to Nicole, every September I have a specific conference for those caregivers who are caring for a veteran. All of the speakers are veteran from the VA and veteran-related, and all of the vendors who set up offering resources to caregivers have to have something for veterans or for their caregivers to be a vendor at this conference.
That is wonderful. That is wonderful.
So for you to know and to talk to Nicole about this year, that conference is going to be September 23rd downtown at WJCT, our PBS studios, and I'm announcing that too to all of my listeners out there who might be caring for someone who is a veteran. Again, mark your calendars for September 23rd. That will be a free all-day 9 to 3 conference for those of you who are caring for a veteran. And you can find out more by calling 904-407-6790. Again, that's 407-6790. Felicia, we talked a little bit earlier about iPads. What is the VA doing with caregivers and iPads?
Well, that was an initiative they started about a couple of years ago, and it's great. With the iPads, they can help organize. They can, in real time, contact the team. Have you ever heard of My Healthy Vet?
Nope. Tell us about it.
Yeah, and it's also on the site, too. My Healthy Vet, it is a link, electronic link, where a veteran or caregiver can have access to the team, to the medical team that is caring for the veteran. So with questions, they have secured instant messaging through My Healthy Vet that you can get to through the iPads. So that is a not a real new initiative, but they're really pushing it now and making it more user-friendly. Even I've been using it. Just send the message straight to your doctor or the nurse or whoever, and they will respond back to you.
So caregivers no longer have to wait now to pull up the phone and make a phone call and wait 30 minutes and get transferred around.
Yeah, and labs. I mean, they're all there. If they get done and they process, you can actually click in virtually to the electronic medical record and see all these things.
See everything that's happening with your loved one and access someone in the VA system who may be caring for your veteran to actually ask questions of them.
And I noticed they're linking military records from when the people were active duty. If they still have them, depending on how far back they go, they're linking all their records to the VA records, and you can access them through this My Healthy Vet. That is amazing.
That is amazing. So iPads in the hands of caregivers who are caring for a veteran. That's, again, a wonderful resource in this day and age. Well, let's talk a little bit about the services available for post-9/11 veterans, Felicia, because I know we have quite a number of those here in the Northeast Florida area.
Okay. On our website, there is a section there special just for post-9/11 to try to break it down closer. Yes, the respite, we already mentioned respite earlier about how important it is, and all veterans get the 30 days. But in the case of a post-9/11, they can get over 30 days if needed, and the team says they can get that. And they also have another training for them. You mentioned building better caregivers. Easter Seals has a training for them, and they can do that training in person or online.
Wow.
And the thing about the in-person training with Easter Seals, the VA pays these post-9/11 caregivers their travel expenses, which includes lodging and food for the veteran if they go to the training. And they also provide travel expenses and food for caregivers for post-9/11 if they have to accompany veterans on appointments for that are undergoing some type of treatment. They provide that for them.
So reimbursement for travel expenses, and if they have to go out of town, lodging and food.
For the post-9/11, and also post-9/11, there's health care for these caregivers if they're not already covered by something else. Like if they don't already have insurance, or they can be covered through the VA. They provide health care, and that includes mental health counseling as well.
Which I would imagine would be one of the services accessed the most, because it's very difficult, I know, to care for some of our post-9/11 vets. Not all of them, but some of them we know come back with TBIs, traumatic brain injuries, sometimes coupled with PTSD, and that can pose just a wealth of challenges, mental changes that can occur for the veteran that can be difficult for the caregiver because they don't understand what's happened to their loved one.
Yeah, and I really think it's more difficult with the blast injury, with the PTSD and the blast injuries, because a lot of times you can't physically see that something is wrong. Unlike other veterans who have physical things that you can see, like loss of a limb, for instance. But yes, people do struggle with the PTSD and TBI the most, trying to wrap their minds around that, and do need that assistance and really just education on the disorder.
It causes so many emotional changes that you or I could probably never really understand, because we've not been there. But anger and frustration, depression, anxiety, just the adjustment of coming back into living in our society again is tough enough. But then have to go through that with all these changes that may have occurred can be so hard on the veteran and on the person who's taking care of them. So if that's you and you're listening today, please reach out to the VA Caregiver Support. Again, caregiver.va.gov. Felicia, we're starting to run out of time again. Can you give the number one more time for the Caregiver Support line?
Sure. The number for the Caregiver Support line is 855-260-3274.
Thank you. And if you have any questions regarding any of these programs, that's the number you can call, and that'll be a good starting point for you. Felicia, again, thank you for being on my show today. Such a wealth of information you brought to us. It's invaluable. And I'm going to be following up with you on what we talked about earlier.
Yes, please do. It's my pleasure to be here with you today on Armed Forces Day.
Thank you. Actually, that's why I saw these flags flying today in my neighborhood. I knew something was going on. Shame on me for not knowing that.
No problem.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. Felicia, again, thank you, and I wish all of you a very blessed Saturday. I'll be back next week.